Hello, everybody. Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon. Welcome to the Patching Podcast. Whoever invited you here today loves you so much because this is an unbelievable technology that needs to get out to everybody. With that being said, my name is Wendy Morgan, and I'm one of your hosts today. I'm located in California, and I'm joined today here by my dear friend, Ann Sontag. Ann, you want to say hello?
Hello, and I am from Houston, Texas.
That is awesome. So with that being said, guys, today you're going to learn a lot about a specific patch. And I just realized I need to grab one because I don't have one. There we go. Patch and how it has activated stem cells in people's lives and what changes have come about with them. So with that being said, we'd first like to go ahead and invite on David. He is couldn't do this without you, David. You please give our disclaimer. I'd appreciate that.
Sure. All LifeWave products are not intended to cure, treat, diagnose, or prevent any disease. If you are pregnant, nursing, have on medications, or have medical conditions, please consult with your physician first. Our patching podcast is for educational purposes only. Thank you, Wendy. Back to you.
Well, thank you, David. We really appreciate you helping us there. And my name is Ann Sontag. I am a Senior Presidential Director here with LifeWave. And so we're going to tell you a little bit about what we're going to be speaking about today. We're going to be speaking about the light technology from LifeWave. So the LifeWave company has actually been around for a little over 20 years. The technology was discovered by David Schmidt when he was asked to discover something that would help the Navy SEALs stay awake without acetaminophen, caffeine pills, or any stimulants. So David Schmidt was already in the industry of light therapy. So hence he discovered how he could reflect light back into the body, where the body would therefore be activated to pull fat from the body into the mitochondria to make ATP, which is energy. This patch is called the Energy Enhancer. So since then, we've also released over 10 other patches, and our Holy Grail patch was released in 2019, which is the X39 patch that Wendy's going to be telling us all about. And 2 weeks ago, we heard from two moms who have special needs daughters. These same two moms have agreed to come back on and tell us their stories so you can hear how these ladies experience activating their own stem cells. So Deana had the 16-year-old daughter, and she's going to go first and come to us by audio only. And Deana, I know you're out of pocket today, and I really appreciate you coming on, telling us how you're doing. Tell us a little bit about your journey as a mom of a special needs daughter, what life was like before you started the patches, and what life is going on now. So Deana, go ahead and, you're unmuted.
Okay, hi. Thanks, Ann. Well, my name is Deana Gaccione, and I'm 57 years old, and I experienced a dramatic decline in my health when I was just 22. It happened quite suddenly, and I was working full time. I was single, but just, like overnight, I became weak. I needed to sleep all the time, sometimes 16 hours a day. I could feel my heart beating through my chest. I was pale. I had no appetite. And yet all the tests showed there was nothing wrong with me. I started having headaches, lots of pain in my body, especially my neck and my back. And, after all this testing and scans and everything they did, the doctors finally told me it was all in my head and tried to put me on antidepressants. So that began my lifelong journey to improve my health. I began seeking medical alternatives, and I learned everything I could about health and nutrition. At the time, it wasn't like it is now, believe me. I tried everything I found, from supplements and treatments to all the alternative doctors that were around and all the therapies I could find. And some things helped, but most things did not. But I just kept on trying things, and I kept searching. After a while, I quit sleeping altogether, and the exhaustion got worse. I just learned to push through. I relied heavily on caffeine to get me through the day, which further depleted my adrenals and led to more exhaustion. And I hated relying on caffeine, but without it, I couldn't function. Severe headaches were a big part of my life. The hardest thing to navigate was the crashing. Every single day I would crash. My energy would plummet very quickly. My eyes would get red, my head would get foggy, and I'd have to lay down for 10 to 15 minutes to recover from that. I had to plan my days around these crashes, which was not easy because it typically happened around 1 in the afternoon. So if I was out, I'd have to pull over and sleep in the car. And some of the hardest times were taking my kids on field trips. I'd have to sneak out to my car for the crash. Also, my nervous system was stuck in fight or flight mode. So through the years, I just learned to manage it. There were so many things I needed to do just to function, tons of supplements and therapies, including seeing the chiropractor every week. If I pushed it out to 2 weeks, I would pay a severe price. So last year, 2022, things started going downhill. I found that the things that normally worked for me were no longer working. And towards the end of the year, it was becoming very concerning. And that's when an old friend who I hadn't heard from in years sent me information about LifeWave. So I was intrigued and I wondered why I hadn't seen it before. I try to stay on top of everything that comes out. I Googled it, and the first thing that came up was a video of a mother giving a testimony about her autistic child. I ordered it not for me, but for my daughter, Jalen. And when it came, I thought I might as well try it also. But mainly I was doing it for her, and I was keeping an eye, very close eye on any changes with her. And some of you may have heard her testimony a couple of weeks ago, but we had amazing results that occurred with her. In the beginning, we both started with X39 only. And for myself, it was day 9. I stepped out of bed and my feet didn't hurt. That woke me up like wide awake because my body my brain knew something was different. And I didn't feel stiff. A few days later, I slept through the night, which I thought, well, this could be a fluke. It happens occasionally. But the next night, it happened again. And then I knew it was not a fluke. So within a few days, there was this huge change with Jalen. And I decided I needed to look at these products. What else did they have? And, what was this all about? So as I was reading about these different products, I kept saying, okay, I need this one. I need this one. I need this one. I ended up ordering almost all of them. And when I got the patches on my body, something happened in a short period of time that was pretty dramatic for me. It's not the same for everybody, but this is what happened for me. And it was quick. All of the fogginess and fatigue that I've had all these years, what are we going on 40 years? It cleared and I felt energy. My body quit hurting. The crashes stopped. My sleep improved and I felt relaxed. I was no longer stuck in the fight or flight mode. So as an adult, I could never remember feeling that well because I'd been really dealing with this since I was 22. So it's been 8 months and I haven't had any headaches. I no longer need to see the chiropractor all the time. I don't have to take all the adrenal supplements and do all the therapies. I've been able to greatly increase my workout, which has been great. And my daughter's condition has improved drastically. So life has been pretty great this year.
Wow, Deana. Oh my gosh, that is all incredible. I didn't even know about the crashes and you sleeping in your car.
Yeah, it's true.
Amazing.
Not
So
fun.
I know you have another testimony that I'd like you to share about a blood report that you had done. Can you share with us that?
Sure. So there was such a change in our lives. I decided to go get some baseline blood work done so that I could follow my progress on the patches. I'd been on them for about 2 months. I regret that I didn't get them right from the beginning, but that's okay. One thing I did was called a live blood cell analysis. And this is where they take your blood and look at it on a screen. And I had done this before, so I knew what it should look like. But on this day that I went, I saw cells I had never seen before. And the doctor told me they were spike proteins and they were all over the place. And she kept moving the slide. And on every screen, there would be these spike proteins, a bunch of them. I was just shocked because I'd heard about them. I was very alarmed. I had heard that they're very dangerous. I didn't know why I had them. I was confused. I thought you only got those from the recent shots that people were taking, and I had not had one of those. But the doctor informed me that if you've even been exposed to the virus, you have spike proteins. So, okay, I'm still in shock on that visit. She recommended that I get on a prescription to eliminate them. and that I come back for a follow-up to make sure they were gone. So I just sat there for a minute and I just trying to take it all in. And I was just feeling so good at the time that I felt I must have had a lot more spike proteins previously. And that's why I had gone downhill last year. Like all this was going through my mind as I was sitting there. I felt the patches had to be helping me with this. So I suggested to her that I do the patches only, not the medication, and come back to see if they had made a difference. She agreed. She's like, yeah, I want to know too. And so in the meantime, I got on a Dr. Stacy call and I typed in the question, do we have anything that will kill spike proteins? She read my question at the end and said, X39, Aeon, and glutathione help clear the blood. I was on those, so I was very hopeful, but still I wasn't going to be able to rest until I went back and got that check. So I anxiously waited for my follow-up, and I waited 6 weeks. It was a hard decision too, because the doctor had told me that they know that these spike proteins multiply and they like to attach to certain organs. And I did so much all my life to try to take care of my health. To think about that was really hard. You know, what if the patches weren't working? And anyway, I decided to do it because I knew I would need that information to be able to share it if there were favorable results. So I waited 6 weeks. And when I went back, she pulled up the screen and there were no spike proteins. She kept moving the slide around, looking for them, and no spike proteins. I think she was very surprised as well. At the end, she said, oh, there's one hiding. I mean, at the very end, she found one like hiding behind a cell, this little tiny one. But at that point, I wasn't even worried about it because I knew it wouldn't be there for long. So I was so incredibly happy. I just grabbed her, was jumping up and down. She actually ended up signing up. I knew that not only had the patches helped clean my blood of those spike proteins, but that they were also helping everyone else that's on them. So to me, that is incredible.
That is incredible. And I'm sure the doctor was very shocked. That is really awesome. See, the patches just supported your body to repair and to rebuild. So
Exactly.
that's incredible. Thank you for that testimony. Can you tell us exactly which patches you were wearing after you got that news about the blood report?
I was on X39, Aeon, and glutathione. I was on energy. That, you know, I think the energy just helped tremendously with my issues, you know, right from day one. I was also on, I didn't start carnosine right away until I heard David talking about all that it did. Then I got on that. Let's see. What am I missing?
That's
oh no, I got on Elevita right away. I was on that. I think that's it. Wow. I was not on Ice Wave. I was not on Silent Nights. I eventually ended up on everything but those two.
You probably just wanted to throw everything at it, just instead of doing what the doctor said, let's just try this. So
well, when I read about what each one of these patches does, and I could see myself needing these in so many different areas, and it's just like, I need this one, I need this one, I need this one. And I just thought, you know, I just have to do this. Everything's going downhill. You know, this whole ship's going to sink if something doesn't turn around. And it did, more than I could have ever imagined.
And I remember the day you called me, and I think you had just gotten home from the doctor. You said, you're not going to believe it. I just came home from the doctor, and guess what?
I know, it was so exciting.
That's so exciting. Yes. Wow.
Yes. Thank you.
Wendy, do you have any other questions for Deana?
You know what? I do just have one thing, Deana. So how long were you feeling so debilitated prior to the patches?
I would say, well, last year was horrible. The whole year was really rough, but maybe like half a year before that. So maybe in 21, halfway into 21, it was probably after I'd had, you know, some exposures, which I had been exposed. I never got sick. I fought it off 5 times, never got symptoms, but you know, I was exposed and they were on board. So right. It was kind of downhill, and it just like picked up steam until the end of last year. It was bad.
Right. So all the other things that you said you couldn't sleep and all that, that's been going on for about a year, or had it been longer?
Oh, no. All those symptoms were really lifelong symptoms,
Yeah, that's what I
but
thought. Okay.
lifelong since 22. And I just worked really hard to manage my health and manage my symptoms and work around them and function as best I could all these years. I kept trying things, and I was able to do it. I raised 3 kids. I have a special needs daughter. I have a farm. I had businesses. I was able to do it by the grace of God. But last year, everything just started like failing.
Mhm.
I just had no energy. I could not get, even the caffeine didn't work anymore. And brain fog, it's like I couldn't even focus. And it was
Yeah.
really concerning. Yeah, I'm a single mother. So I've got Jalen home. I'm homeschooling her. And so it's getting really concerning.
Yeah.
But-
So Deanna, for everybody, if you don't mind sharing now, how young are you?
57.
So for 56 years,
Mm.
probably not so much. We'll just take away, 46 years. You have been feeling pretty crappy in that body.
Oh, yeah.
And since February of this year, when you started patching
Huh.
and activating your stem cells, your life has really turned around.
Completely.
That is amazing.
I
Absolutely.
I don't remember feeling like this as an adult. I mean,
Mhm.
all my adult life has been a struggle with health, but I was a healthy kid. I was healthy. So I know I was healthy back then, but I don't remember it. You don't think about your health until you don't have it.
Yeah.
But it's been my whole entire adult life. So it's just amazing to me. Still, I can't wrap my mind around it, that at this age, I feel better than I ever did when I was younger. And I feel like I have a second chance at life.
Absolutely. Get a new lease on life. And thank you so much for sharing about the spike protein, because yes, I was aware of all that information, and a lot of people are looking for, how can I remove that spike protein out of the body? So thank you for sharing for the X39, the AON, and the glutathione primarily, of working that out of your body. Thank you so much. That is just gold in itself. Thank you for your story. Yeah. Amazing.
Thank you, Wendy. You're welcome.
All right, guys, with that being said, we're going to go on to Pam. Pam, if you would unmute yourself and say hello and let everybody know where you're from and a little bit about yourself.
Hi, y'all. I'm from Louisiana. Currently, I'm in Texas. You can see a saddle behind me. That's where I want to be. And now, without problems, I can be on that saddle anytime I want to, because I've got my health back. What happened for me is, in August 31st of 2016, I had a routine sinus surgery. That routine sinus surgery, he took away tissue and bone, but he didn't pack my face. I got home, and about an hour after I had been home from the surgery, I started bleeding out. And when I say bleeding out, I was bleeding out, bottoming out. So they rushed me back. My husband rushed me back to the hospital. They tried to stop the bleeding, couldn't, rushed me in for a second surgery. And the doctor at that point packed my face so much that the packing stayed. He had packed it all the way into the forehead region, where the packing stayed. Instead of 2 weeks, that packing stayed in there for 2 months, caused trigeminal nerve damage. I didn't know that at the time. I had gone to, since August 31st of 2016, and I'm not a person that remembers dates, but that date will never leave me, because from that day until February of this year, I had never gone without a facial migraine that would take me out at a level 10 at every single day, never stopping. So I had 2,400 days of level 10 facial migraines. And if you have ever had even a migraine, you know that you're useless. There are things you have to do, but you never do anything well. I saw 31 surgeons and specialists. I had every procedure that they said to try. I tried it. They said Botox in the face. I tried it. They said, take this medicine, that medicine. They threw everything at me. Nothing worked. Last attempt was, I had a brain surgery that he went in from the back, I have a giant titanium disc in my head now. And he went in and he clipped one fiber that would allow me to at least have wind hit my face. But that was it. That didn't stop the pain. It didn't stop the swelling. So the condition I have is called Sluders Neuralgia. It's called the suicide injury because there is no cure for it. And that is the outcome of most people that have this condition. That's how debilitating it is. So in February, after 2,400 days of making every single decision based around the limitations of my life, there were no expectations. The limitations were I could make it as far as this point, and then I knew I was going down. It didn't matter how much medicine I took, how much I tried to block my face. It did not matter. I was going down. And I had a friend named Brian Penrod who saw that I was in a 7-day cycle. I had had 3 IVs to break the migraine cycle. Nothing had helped. He asked me if he could send me something. He didn't tell me what it was, and I didn't ask. I was in a migraine. It just sent a miracle. He sent an envelope, and it looked exactly like this. And on the back of it, he wrote, "Just try this. Put this patch here, here, and here. Drink a glass of water, and in 5 minutes, your level 10 pain is going to go down to a 2. Well, I had tried everything else. In 5 minutes, my level 10 pain went down to a 2. And in about 10 minutes, I believed it. Nothing had stopped it. So my husband looked at me and we didn't want to move or look at each other or say anything because we thought maybe it'll go away, but it didn't. And for 5.5 weeks, I wore Ice Wave and X39 in the same exact pattern on the back of my neck every single day. And I love coming to San Antonio for rodeo, and rodeo season is always a mixed basket because I would get to go, but I knew that in between performance and in between everything else, I was going to go down with heavy medication and miss most of the day, or at least not enjoy it like I wanted to. Well, this February, I got to go to every performance. I went through every barn, all the dander, all the dirt, all the stuff, the wind, the heat, the humidity, the cold, nothing stopped it. And for 5.5 weeks, I got to go to rodeo. I got to come back and volunteer for youth rodeo and help with the inner city kids. I had no pain. I didn't have to stop anything. I got to live my life again, pain-free. And I went back home and I realized that it's March in Louisiana. I mean, you wear shorts in March in Louisiana and you mow the grass. And I was outside mowing the grass and I realized I didn't have a migraine and I didn't have patches on. And I was outside doing what I wanted to do. And there was no residual go to bed. This is it for the day. And that's when I realized that I had finally broken the pain loop that no other doctor and no other surgeon could break. Ice Wave and X39 broke it. And since then, I have worn, some days I need it, some days I don't, but I don't schedule my life around my pain anymore. It is gone. And I can say that I can do push-ups again. I can hang my head. I can sew, I can clean, I can do anything. I can ride horses.
So Pam, explain to everybody, because you said, I now can do these things. Why couldn't you do them before? What, if you did try to do them, what would happen?
The pain was so intense that you lose your balance. There's so much pressure in your head and there's so much pain and swelling that every day my face would swell up like I had a black eye. And it would go, the nerve pain wraps around from the back of your head where the veins come in from the skull, and it goes right over that eyebrow. And then all of this would swell up and become so big that you'd have to stop all stimulation. You'd have to stop everything you were doing, cover the eye, not have any light, any stimulation, and just lay still in bed. And then you had to position yourself, because the sensation you get, I told this to every doctor I've seen in the last 6 years. It's like a sick sack of goo just rolls in your face. And while you know it's not there, that's what you feel. It's like being on a boat, but it's only your face moving. And it's so painful that you just go to bed. There's nothing else you can do. I couldn't help with Katie. I would cook supper and I would go to bed. I would make sure she was finished or clothes were done or something was done, and I'd go to bed. And so my quality of life was almost at zero. I mean, I could fake it through, but I was never faking it through without medication or without just horrific pain. And now I don't have that. Now I'm in Bernie, Texas in 102-degree weather, and look at this face. There is no pain in it. And it's because I have an ice wave and an X39 on the back of my neck. So is there hope for people that have this uncurable condition? There is hope now, because while they say the only other thing they offered me was alcohol ablation, which kills all the nerves in the face, but they can't say that it'll take away pain. That just means you won't be able to feel your face on the outside. But that also means you won't be able to know if you're keeping food in your mouth or water or anything else. So I didn't think it was a trade-off. That was like the last resort that I wasn't willing to go to. And LifeWave changed my life and my family's life forever. And now everywhere I go, if I see anybody with that grimace of pain, it's like, do you need to be patched? Let me tell you about this, because this is that little patch that has the potential of everything. You don't have to base your life anymore on your limitations. You can base it on your expectations.
Right. And Pam, and that's true. I'm sorry, I should acknowledge that first, but I want to go back to, when you're in that much pain, and I want people to realize this, and for those who have never had a lot of pain but when you're in a lot of pain for a long time, it affects your mental and your emotional disposition. It changes your whole synapses in your brain. So literally you're changed from who you were prior to this event and to now. So I know you were going through some sort of melancholy, low thoughts, and poor focus and clarity. How is that now for you? I presume, correct me if I'm wrong by that, please.
No, I was hopeless.
No.
I was hopeless because everything that was offered didn't work. So when you look at it and you know that you're not going, if you plan a trip or you go out to supper with your husband or you do anything, you don't enjoy it. You look for an escape route of how you're going to get home and get back to laying still and covering your head with a blanket. And that is not living. So how did I feel? I felt hopeless and I felt abandoned, but I abandoned my family because they planned things that I couldn't do. And so it stopped them from living too. And when you see that the damage that kind of pain does to your family, it affects them, because my husband would say, I leave in the morning and I know you're hurting, and I come home at night and you're probably in bed. And he was right. Now things got done during the day, but it got done just because of sheer will, and there was nothing else to do. But it was never out of, oh, I got to garden today, or I got to do what I wanted to do. I only got to do what that amount of time, that little window would allow me to do. So hopeless is, to say that is even minimizing what it really is when you live at a level 10 of pain every day.
Yeah. And now?
And now next Saturday, I'm going to be on top of a horse on top of a mountain in Montana. So when you live in a valley for so long and you get to have a mountaintop experience and you know what got you there, and it's just a little tiny patch, then you've done it all.
Anne, you have any questions?
I'm just amazed. And now that you said this is the suicidal thing,
That's what they call it.
and I understand. I never knew how much pain it, because I don't have pain myself, but just to describe what you went through, Pam, is unbelievable. And it's amazing you have come out of that valley. And I'm so excited you get to go and you're living again. So that's beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing.
My pleasure. I hope someone out there is inspired enough to at least have the courage to try it. I know that everything else has been thrown at you if you've had that diagnosis of Sluders Neuralgia. I know that they've thrown everything at you, but now there's hope, and you don't have to give up, and you don't have to quit your life. Now you can get your life back and go forward.
Thank you, Pam. Thank you so much. Really, really appreciate your story and your courage of coming forth and sharing it and letting and trusting us with your story. Thank you so much.
You're
And
welcome.
yep. And also, Deanne, really appreciate you as well. And for those of you, sorry for keeping you guys here a little bit longer, but now we're going to go into discussing and sharing with you exactly what has helped these two women with completely two different things. Some things kind of overlapped, but nevertheless, by activating their stem cells, how it brought about such great changes and gave them such a new lease on their life. And it all comes down to this patch. And this is a simple patch. And like, Anne alluded to earlier, we have 10 different type of patches, but this guy is the holy grail. This is the big crescendo that came out into the stem cell world that everyone's talking about now. This is the X39 patch. And as you can see, it's about the size of a quarter. And if I take off the back, just like a Band-Aid, you'll see there is a piece of gauze in the center. And in that piece of gauze basically is where all the magic happens. Now, this is an X39 patch. We do have two specific places to place it: behind the neck, below C7 or below the belly button. But this is also very magical patch in the way that if my wrist was hurting, I could literally pop it right there on my wrist so that the stem cells can kind of get focalized right in there. It'll still go throughout my body, but it'll get focalized right there, really immediately addressing any issues that perhaps the cells which are damaged are not working very well. So inside that piece of gauze is basically simple ingredients. And I remember talking to somebody and they said, no, but tell me, you can just give me the whole science, because it's so simple. It's just organic salt, sugars, amino acids, and water that is dried to create a specific crystal lattice. So each different patch has a different crystal lattice. And when you place it on your body, the infrared, as we place on your body starts reflecting back into your body specific light waves. So yes, our body emanates a full spectrum of light. We all very much well know of infrared. We can now have night vision goggles and we can spy on each other, but we also emanate a full spectrum of light. And this specific patch reflects back specific light waves back into the body. So the body now knows and gets the trigger to make GHK copper peptide. This particular technology is called photobiomodulation. Big word, but guess what? You've been using it all your life. Every single time that you've gone out into the sun and the sunlight waves have kissed your skin, your body's gotten the signal to make vitamin D. If you were anywhere in my genre of age, we were always told that the sun made vitamin D. It does not. Our body makes the vitamin D, but it needs that stimulation of that light wave. And it turns out David Schmidt learned over 35 years ago to 20 years ago just how the body really uses different light waves and how it can do different things, because the body is so capable of doing so many things for itself. And so when he created this patch and he discovered or was inspired of how to make this patch, reflecting back those specific light waves makes GHK copper peptide. Now, GHK copper peptide is, again, not new to you either. Back when you were first created, in the first beginning stages of creation of you being in the womb, that GHK copper peptide was created. And now inside the woman knew that it needed to make now stem cells. It made brain, bone, blood, nerve, etc. And those stem cells literally 3D printed you, created you in the womb. How long did that take? 9 months, right? We all know that. And so, you know, for some people, when they put on this patch, they may feel some results within 3 days, but that's a very small amount of people. A good number of people receive some, you know, results they like to see within 3 to 6 weeks, but most are within 3 to 9 months or longer. It all depends on the damage in your body. But as that GHK copper peptide is increased within your body from this patch, it pulls your stem cells out of hibernation. And you're like, what? What do you mean? You just told me that we had a lot of stem cells when we were in the womb. Yes, I did. But when we're born, a lot of those stem cells stay behind in the womb, but we still have a lot in our body to make sure our bones grow longer, our brain continues to develop, et cetera, et cetera. But for whatever reason, just after puberty, that GHK starts to decline, our stem cells go into hibernation. So GHK to stem cells is like water to a plant. It needs that stimulation of that particular peptide in order to stay healthy and get the signal that we need to continue working. So after puberty, as those stem cells go into hibernation, by the time you're 35 years of age, you have less than 45% stem cells that you were working with when you were 15 years of age. By the time you're 60, it's anywhere between 9% or less. And by the time you're 80, we can't find them at all. So once you start activating your GHK, those stem cells come out of hibernation and get back to work. But really beautiful news here, guys. It also does the exact same thing, exact same stimulation when you were in the womb. When you're in the womb, right? GHK, what did what? It stimulated the body to make new stem cells. And it's doing the same thing in your body too, making brand new baby stem cells that are blank. And so the innate intelligence of your body is going to say, hey, we need to make you a blood stem cell, or maybe a nerve stem cell in Pam's, you know, case, or, you know, and other people, a liver stem cell, whatever. That's up to your body. Everybody's body's different. Everybody's body is going to react differently. So nevertheless, it starts creating those brand new baby stem cells. And those stem cells, what they do is they go out and they either repair, regenerate, or replace damaged cells. Anything and everything that is going on in your body, guys, whether it's physical, mental, emotional, it all comes down to the health of that cell. The cell's unable to perform its function due to too many toxins, oxidative stress, inflammation, and damage. It's not going to be able to form it. Hence, you get issues within your body that you have complaints and whatnot with. But once you heal that cell now can actually do the beautiful thing that it was designed to do. So again, when you put on this patch, within 10 seconds, it starts to work. The only caveat is drinking water, guys, drinking water. So if you'd like to learn more information about this particular patch, a good place to go is startx39now.com. We have some beautiful little videos on there, a nice little dissertation from David Schmidt himself, and some wonderful pictures, more testimonies. We have science, peer-reviewed, clinical, the whole 9 yards down below, and also our patents. And in case you didn't know, you couldn't take just any little thing and go, oh, patent office, I want to patent this piece of paper because if I put it on my head, I can float. No, they want to make sure that let's see you float and I want to see your studies, and then we'll patent your product. So we do know this product does what it says it does. So with that, Anne, how do people get a hold of us? What do you suggest? How should they go ahead and how should they get on this watch?
Well, thank you, Wendy, for that fantastic explanation. I loved it. If you just want to get back with the person who invited you here today, they will help you create a personal kit. And maybe in 30 days, you may be here sharing your story of how the patches have changed your life, just like Pam and Deana. So we are here Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday nights, 8 p.m. Central, and then Friday at 3 p.m. Central. So please invite your friends and just come and tell them to come hear some true life stories. But thank you for all coming today.
Yes, thank you so much, Anne. It's always such a pleasure seeing you. And thank you, Pam. Thank you, Deanne. Really appreciate the both of you coming on. And thank you, everybody, for being here. And Anne, enjoy your weekend.
Y'all too. Thanks, everybody.
All right.
Great,
Bye-bye.
great call.
Bye, David. Thank you so much.
Have a great weekend.
You too.
Bye, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.